Hello, my name is Fiona Ledger, and I am a financial coach, specializing in insolvency matters. Today's Brandon's blog is titled Financial Burdens from Medical Expenses, our comprehensive and alarming guide for insolvency trustees and all Canadians. Brandon describes a recent report from the Canadian Cancer Society. This report highlights that cancer isn't just a health issue, it's a financial crisis for many Canadians. The report unveils the economic struggles endured by patients, emphasizing the need for systemic change to alleviate financial burdens. Brandon describes all this, and then he also discusses how those with financial burdens can proactively work to reduce their debt. Do you or your company have too much debt because of medical costs or other reasons? Are you or your company in need of financial restructuring? It is not your fault. The global financial systems are stacked against ordinary Canadians. The financial restructuring process is complex. Brandon and his team understand how to do a complex restructuring. However, more importantly, we understand the needs of the entrepreneur or someone with too much personal debt. So contact Brandon today at 905-738-4167 for your no-cost consultation.
Exploring something that I think is on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
And that's the financial realities of taking care of elderly parents.
Mm-hmm.
We've got articles, we've got stories from people, even some research reports, and it's honestly a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it is.
And it can be a bit scary, to be honest, with all the anxiety around healthcare costs and potential debt.
Absolutely.
And just the impact that this can have on everyone's quality of life. So we're here to kind of break it down for you and really help you navigate this and hopefully uncover some of those hidden costs that people don't often think about.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see them coming. And it's like an iceberg, you see the tip, but underneath,
Right.
There's this whole huge mass of expenses.
Right. You see the insurance premiums and you think, oh, okay, I'm covered.
Exactly. And then bam,
Then it's like, oh,
you get hit with all this other stuff.
yeah, what are some of those things lurking down there that we should be looking out for?
Well, one phrase that kept popping up in the research was pocket expenditures.
Ugh. Yeah, that makes me nervous just hearing it.
Right.
What does that even mean?
It's like this constant drain on your bank account.
Oh, no.
Little things maybe at first, but they add up so fast.
Like what?
And then there's the deductibles you have to meet before the insurance even kicks in. And sometimes there are therapies or treatments that aren't even covered at all.
Oh, gosh, it's like death by 1,000 cuts.
It really can be.
I'm thinking about my aunt who had to put in a stair lift for my grandma.
Oh, yeah.
That couldn't have been cheap.
No home modifications are a huge expense. Like wheelchair ramps, grab bars, even those walk-in bathtubs. It adds up really quickly.
Thousands of dollars, I bet.
Easily, sometimes tens of thousands.
Wow. And we're not even talking about chronic illnesses yet.
Right.
Which a lot of our sources brought up.
Yeah, they mention these illness studies.
And that's where I think it gets really scary.
Absolutely, because you're not just dealing with a one-time bill.
Right.
It's ongoing.
Like with something like diabetes or heart disease.
Exactly.
It's constant management.
One study we looked at,
Oh, wow.
facing an average of $30,000 in additional costs every year.
Every year.
Even with insurance.
That's unbelievable. And I know we focus on the financial strain on the parents themselves.
Yeah.
But it's the caregivers who also get hit hard.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the adult children trying to balance their own lives.
Mm-hmm. Juggling jobs, families, their own finances. It takes a toll on everyone.
Yeah, so we've got this perfect storm of medical bills and modifications and the potential for long-term care. No wonder people are turning to things like debt consolidation and credit cards.
Yeah, that came up a lot in what we read.
But is that the answer?
Well, debt consolidation can be helpful.
Okay.
But you got to be careful.
How so?
It can make things easier to manage by combining your debts and potentially getting a lower interest rate.
Right. But you really need to understand the terms and the fees involved. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
There are different types of consolidation.
Okay.
And some might not be right for your situation.
And what about credit cards?
Those are risky.
Yeah, I feel like they can be a slippery slope.
They definitely can. They might seem like a quick fix
Right.
for unexpected expenses, but those high interest rates can really bury you if you're not careful.
So what do you recommend?
Honestly, I always say talk to a credit counselor,
Okay.
a reputable one, of course.
Right, of course.
They can help you figure out your options
Yeah,
and come up with a plan that you can actually sustain.
that makes sense.
One organization that was mentioned a few times was IRA Smith Trustee.
Okay.
But of course, we're not endorsing anyone specifically.
Right.
Do your research and find what works for you.
Reading all this, what really stood out to me was the sense of responsibility that adult children feel for their parents' well-being.
Yeah, it goes beyond just the money.
Exactly.
It's making sure their parents have a good quality of life.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget about the sacrifices caregivers are making. It can affect their jobs, their relationships, their own health.
It's a lot to carry, so it's crucial to find support.
Yeah, emotional and financial support.
Absolutely.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
So I think the main takeaway here is that we need to understand the full picture of these healthcare costs and plan ahead.
Yeah.
And realize that it's not just about a bank account. It's about families and relationship and everyone's well-being.
It's a ripple effect. It touches everyone involved.
And as we wrap up, I think it's worth asking, how can we as a society do better?
Yeah.
How can we support families going through this? Are there resources or policies or even just community initiatives that can help lighten the load?
That's the question we need to be asking.
It's something to think about
Absolutely.
as we all navigate this really complex and often challenging world. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.